Hello, beautiful family of light, dear brothers and sisters of the heart. Welcome to this intuitive energy forecast. My name is Lyle, and this is my channel here on YouTube. I am also on BitChute, as well as social media on Facebook and Instagram as Wisdom of the Heart. Anyways, I've been guided here with you today on the weekend of the resurrection, just to share some stuff that's been coming through. It's quite an energetic time that we are living in and through. And for those of us sensitive ones, those of us here as the seeds of change, the seeds of light that humanity is counting on, we can easily be, blown off course. And so you may have found in recent weeks that your regular grounding practices and your daily practices may have fallen off the wagon a little bit, or they're not having the same supportive effect and impact that they once had. And you're not alone. It's important for you to know that you're not alone. I'm not going to pull any cards for us today. I'm just going to simply share about what has been coming through as guidance and support for me in order to support the collective and heal the collective wound. And there's a big gaping wound that has been exposed, and we are here as the current keepers of light that are facilitating this shift. And so what can we do for ourselves? First and foremost is self-care is our priority. And when our feathers are ruffled from external influences, external narratives, anything like that, it's important for us to come into our heart space and simply become the observer in our life. Because as we become the observer, we come to realize that oftentimes it's just the observing allows for an expanded awareness. And so then we can bring the focus, we can shift in that moment and bring the focus back to ourselves and our self-care practices. How are our boundaries? How are our boundaries these days? Are we feeling that people are crossing our boundaries or testing our limits? And if we are feeling that way, it's important, again, to come back and make sure that we are doing through practice and discipline, we are doing what we can to make sure that we are not allowing, our boundaries aren't weak. And making sure our boundaries aren't weak, because our responsibility in the whole big scheme of things, our divine responsibility, is to take care of ourselves first, to heal our wounds first. And from that space, we then will be able to serve in ways that are supportive to others as well as to ourself. It's always about the heart. It's, everything. I mean, my Facebook page, when it came to life a decade ago, the name Wisdom of the Heart was given to me. And at that time, I was shown a compass over top of the heart. And that this is the intended guide in this lifetime. And this is where we are all being called back to. And humanity has really been bamboozled, if you will, from external forces. And so not everyone trusts their heart. And many are still walking around with closed hearts. And it's really time we're here to open and expand through this heart space. We can't allow ourselves at this time to fall into the energies of gossip and criticism. of external forces, because that is, we're always, when we allow ourselves to fall into gossip and criticism of others, it is important to note that as we judge others, we judge ourselves. And so during this time when things are so up in the air, and there's a lot of nefarious energy, which I must say to you, the nefarious energy is being seen. It is exposing itself. And so all we, those of us who have been awake for quite some time, in decades maybe, it's really important that we just continually come back to that heart space and support others who are at the early stages of awakening to, I mean, I guess we could call it the matrix, this matrix, this web that we live within. It's really important that you take the time, whatever may be coming up for you. It's 4:55 now as I record on April 16th, and it's between Easter and Good Friday. Now, it's really important for us at this time, anything that's coming up, even if we felt like we've dealt with it before, we've healed this, we've overcome this, if it's still coming up, it's coming up for a reason, because it actually hasn't been dealt with, it hasn't been healed, and so it's presenting itself again to you now in order to do that final clearing, if you will, of a karmic pattern, an energetic pattern. And as the whole of collective, we're really, the whole collective of humanity, we're really being called to do our personal work, because we're not going to go out there and save the world. Waving flags is not going to, do nothing more than signaling our virtue and what a good person I am. I really care about the world. And I call BS to that, because most people only care about the things that they're told to care about. I won't go into, a myriad of instances around the world over the last decade or two or five where, we haven't really waved flags and cared so much. It's important that the care begins at home. Charity begins at home. I'm sure that's somewhere in the scriptures about charity beginning at home. And so if we really want to see a peaceful world, if we really want to see a world in where all children are fed, all children are aware of their worth and value, we have to integrate that. We have to be that in the world. And so no amount of flag waving and no amount of virtue signaling is going to support the facilitation of the shift that we are here to do. We are here doing. It's about integrity, okay? It's about integrity. And, if we're still at a point where we're feeling like we're on any side beside God and humanity's side, waving flags here, labeling ourselves over here and all this kind of stuff, if you're still doing that, with all due respect, you need to know that you are supporting the what's the best way to say it? The demonic agenda. And if we don't believe that there's a demonic agenda, then perhaps this isn't the channel for you, because it is divine truth, and we are on planet Earth, on Mother Earth. There is a spiritual battle well underway, and humanity does win. God does win, and in the meantime, it's up to us to continue to go deeper within our heart experience, to go deeper within our healing. Now, people, this journey isn't for the faint of heart, and not everybody's going to want to keep working, to keep doing their part, to keep healing. A lot of people are just happy to get to, a certain level, and here's where we'll stay. I'm good, no thanks. As one who has been on this journey for the last 3 decades or so, it's really interesting to observe, in my experience, that the longer we live, you know, the more breath that's in our body, the more life that we live, the more healing, in fact, needs to be done. And if we are one of the courageous ones and we go in and we do our healing and we clear away time and time again, more and more is going to be continue to be revealed to us, because God, Source, Creator, knows that we are one of the brave hearts here doing our part to support this transition to this new earth, this heaven on earth, this Christos Sophia light restoring righteousness to the human collective. Because we, at this time, we have all experienced wounding of our heart. And in fact, the wounding that we've experienced goes much deeper than the heart space. It actually goes into the womb space. And I'll be sharing more about that. I have a number of offerings which I will be sharing in the coming weeks and months with respect to supporting women, really supporting women so that they step into their role as the Divine Mother, the creator of life, the giver of life. And, you know, again, like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, and yet it is through the purity of our heart that we are here to serve. It is a part of our healing journey, and the process is clearing all that gunk, that clutter, that nonsense that has clouded our vision, has clouded our ability to connect with and feel the purity of our heart, the innocence of a child. Because each of us is here as a tree of life. Each of us is here as a flower of life. So if we look at our physical body as the tree, years ago I was shown that when we have done our healing work below the heart through the root, sacral, and solar plexus chakra, when we've done our healing work and we actively participate in making our connections with Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, and grounding ourselves, that our heart chakra is intended to be the first chakra above the earth, which all life grows from the heart. And so if our body is the tree of life, with our heart, in our heart, it is the flower of life. And within the flower of life is the light of our brother, Jesus the Christ. And again, it's much deeper and much more ancient than the biblical times of Jesus. And when Jesus walked the earth, it goes much deeper than that. And Jesus is a representation of all of us. And Jesus came to remind us of the purity of heart, of our eternal connection to Source, of the fact that we are the Christed light. And we are here at this time, this Easter weekend, this weekend of resurrection of the light. It is our sole responsibility to resurrect the light within us. You know, and our breath, breathing into the diaphragm and thinking of the diaphragm as the bellows that gently fan the flames of the fire back to life. That's your work. That's my work. Nobody can do that for us. And we are at this time where the divine feminine principle is on the rise. The Divine Mother is waking up and stepping up and into her role as healer, as guide, as leader, as a voice of reason in these turbulent times. And we are here in our physical bodies journeying to and through ascension. And it's ascension for me is just simply overcoming the mundane, the egoic, the real man-made experience of being human, which has many feeling that they don't have any personal power. And I'm here to burst your bubble on that too. You are immensely powerful and infinitely powerful. And it's really about time you stopped giving your power away to any entity, any organization, any affiliation outside of yourself. Because here in your heart is where you are connected to the cosmic source, the cosmic heart of all, Mother, Father, God, Creator, Source. And it's up to you, and I'm just going to speak to all the women who are connecting. It's up to you to awaken the divine feminine principle within you and awaken to that womb wisdom. And in order to awaken to the wisdom of the womb, we must heal the wounds that exist and reside within the womb. And so, again, I don't want to get too deep, and I don't want to give the workshops away, but this is where a big focus is on the womb space and awakening from that space. There's another, with the awakening of the divine feminine principle and the divine feminine principle coming back online as an equal to the divine masculine. Not the divine masculine that's tyrannical worldwide, the divine masculine that is righteous and in his power. He is a provider, a protector. He also is a voice of reason. And with the way things have gone in the last 5 decades on the planet, there's been a real demolishing of the family unit. And what really was the beginning strike against us women in recent times was the women's feminist movement. Detrimental to the home, the family, the child, the sacred union of marriage, divine partnership. And as a result of this and divorce and all of this kind of stuff, women have really been burdening more than their fair share of responsibility when it comes to providing for and caring for our children. And this is shifting, and it's shifting within us women who are aware of this. It's shifting within us, and we are really asked to show up for ourselves these days, to mother ourselves, particularly when we're feeling out of sorts and out of balance, out of whack, all these things. And as we do, we heal the divine masculine within our experience as well. And with the divine masculine having to step to the forefront in many, many women at this time, it has, in a lot of ways, made the feminine seem hard and irrational and unreasonable. And I'm here to say to you, my dear sisters, you are more than enough, and you have done more than enough. You have shouldered more than enough of your share of the responsibility, the workload, and now it's a bit of time for some rest. Rest to come back to the purity of your heart, to come back to the ability to hear the voice of God that speaks often in a whisper within you. And you have got everything that you need. All your tools are right here in your toolbox. And perhaps it's time to go through and organize that toolbox a little bit so that you can feel more clarity as we move forward. Forgiveness is a huge component as well, and some of you may be feeling this need for forgiveness, or some of you who have stuff bubbling up to the surface may be feeling like really angry at some people and, really let down by people in your life. And again, and perhaps you're feeling like you've let yourself down. Perhaps you feel like you've let your children down. Perhaps you feel like you've let your family, your parents, your siblings, your partners down. You would be well and you are worthy. You would be well advised to forgive yourself for everything. You would be well advised to put down your swords and arrows and to see yourself through God's eyes. And maybe go and look at yourself in the mirror and have a look at those beautiful eyes of yours. And what do you see? What do you feel when you connect with your face, when you come face to face with yourself in a mirror? Forgiveness is a huge key, and there's a big healing taking place around humility. And our egos are, if you're doing your work, if you're doing your inner work, your ego is taking a bit of a battering these days, right? Because with so much volatile energy in the world, it is an act of grace, and it is an act of great strength to stay peaceful in the heart space. Even when, a lot of the things you may be hearing outside of yourself are rather offensive to your innate knowing, the innate knowing of your eternal soul. And yet forgiveness is going to be one of the best gifts you could ever give yourself. And if you're feeling wounded, if your ego's feeling a little bruised, be gentle with yourself. Offer yourself some tenderness, rest as you need. There's a big call for rest these days. Lots of water. Go at your own pace. Don't push yourself to the point of complete exhaustion. It's 5:11 now. That's been coming up a lot, like a lot of 11s. My son said, "Oh, Mom, I'm always seeing 911 or 811, and now I see everything 11, 111, 211, 311, 411." So you may be seeing this too, and I feel that the 11 is really reminding us that we are here walking our heart-centered path of mastery. We won't master this walk through the mind. We can't intellectualize our way to have a spiritual experience. And the spiritual experience really comes through the recognition that we are spirit in form. We are spirit in its most dense form. And I mean that in more ways than just dense as the physical body. The God of Indulgence card is the one that came out. I didn't think I was going to pull any cards, but apparently, okay. So those are the two. Is there one more? Okay, let's try that again. Is there one more? If there is, make it really recognizable. Like flip it. There it is. Oh, okay. So just to wrap this up, I'm going to do another video after that was inspired by this candle. And the message came through on Thursday, the day before Good Friday. And this is Saint Corona. And no, she's not the patron saint of plagues and viruses and bugs and that kind of stuff. That's a role, I guess, that people gave her during this last couple of years. I had a really interesting message from God source that came through as I connected with this candle before I lit it, and I'm going to share that in the next video that I post here on this page after this one. So if you're interested in that, and it's all the women, it's a really great message for us women. So just as we got two angels here out of the Angels, Gods, and Goddesses deck by Tony Carmine Salerno. And the first one that came out is this God of Indulgence. And as I connected with this card as it came out, what I was really feeling is like we've allowed ourselves to indulge a lot in the I'm going to say Satan's domain. And again, everything's energy. God is a consciousness. Satan is also a consciousness. And yet, as powerful as God is, we have to remember other consciousnesses are also powerful. And without knowing, many, many people at this time have consented to the Luciferian agenda, the demonic agenda that has been playing out worldwide for the last 2 years. And that may be an offensive statement to some because, it's been all about our health and all about our well-being. And again, I'm going to say I call BS on that because it's not, and it never has been. And, that's for each soul connected to Source, each soul connected to God has to have that awakening themselves. And you're either going to have a spiritual awakening or you are going to be led right until your death, until your end of days, by some force outside of yourself that is not godly, that is not for team humanity. And that's what I was connecting with this guy, the god of indulgence. What was popping in was addictions. So alcohol, drugs, food, sex, like through the media, like pornography, movies, all this kind of stuff. It's like humans were funny creatures because anything not to feel, right? Oh, I feel a deep emotion. Oh, let's have another drink. Oh, I feel ticked off at this person or that person. Let's smoke a joint. Let's eat some more food because we're wanting to feel better. And no amount of indulgence, no amount of chocolate, no amount of wine, weed, nicotine, food, anything, sex, none of that. Those are all temporary solutions to numb down, to numb the feeling. And again, it's being a diabolical plan for humanity. And these things have been injected into the collective stream as ways to pull people away from who they truly are, the essence of the heart, God, that resides within the heart, who we are. And so as we're in this weekend where, it's all about chocolate bunnies and Easter eggs and lots of food, all this kind of stuff, I would caution you to be mindful of the choices that you're making for what you're ingesting, whether it's liquid or solids. Be conscious of how you are affected and impacted by the energies around you, and not to overindulge. Yes, of course, it's great to, have some ice cream or have some chocolate, and if you're not an alcoholic, to have a glass of wine or, these kind of things. Yes, in moderation. What this card is speaking to me about is love yourself enough today and each and every day not to overindulge overindulge in toxins, really is what I'm hearing. Not to overindulge in toxins. Come back. How does it feel? How does eating this make me feel? How does drinking this make me feel? How do I feel around these people? And again, people can't make us feel any particular way unless we claim ownership to it. I'm learning that more profoundly in raising my son, because he's like, oh, well, when you did that, I felt like this. And, it's like, well, honey, you have to have a look at what's inside of you and your experience and your heart as to why you are having that particular reaction to something that was said, which was truth. Same goes for us. And what I'm seeing here, remember I had mentioned earlier, have a look at yourself in the mirror. What do you see when you look at yourself in the mirror? Because you're looking at God. God is reflecting back to you. And so make that connection. Third eye expansion. And there's lots of energies coming in. We've had all kinds of geomagnetic storms, sunspots, explosions from the sun, and then the solar winds that come in. And that, we've been bombarded with solar winds for the last couple of weeks. And that's why I was saying it's very important to make sure that you're caring for yourself, getting lots of water, taking time out in nature, resting when you need to. Listen to your body. It will be letting you know what it needs. These days, my body is like craving Brussels sprouts. I can eat a bag of them a day. I actually have a bag on the counter because I didn't want to run out with the stores closed tomorrow. So Brussels sprouts, well, that's for me. Listen to your body's needs, because your body will guide you to what's going to support you to feel most vibrant, most alive. And I can pretty well guarantee that wine and chocolate and all that stuff is not really going to have that uplifting effect. And if you do overindulge in things, like it's saying here on the card, don't beat yourself up about it. This is where the forgiveness comes in, right? We can't keep going over the same things over and over and over and over and over. We have to, at some point, make the break, make the cut. We're done. We're done. Full stop. Move on. And that's where we're at this time. This is what this resurrection weekend, Easter weekend, is really symbolizing to me. It's a full stop of the insanity, the full stop of the lack of consciousness, or the low vibration that does not support team humanity. And it begins with us. The God of Indulgence says, it's all right. It's all right. Stop beating yourself up. A little indulgence in balance is healthy. And that's the key, in balance, right? Because a lot of us indulge in not in ways that are in balance, and in ways that are quite unhealthy. And whatever the addiction may be, whatever form the addiction takes, the energy of addiction is one energy. And in my experience, it flows from unhealed pain and trauma, trauma that was introduced early in life. It's actually much deeper than that. It's from the womb, but we won't go into that here. The other two cards that came out were the Angel of New Life and the Angel of Manifestation. And it's like, what do you want? What do you want? Women, I'm speaking mostly to you. I know that my circle is mostly women. This is about us. What do you want? Mothers, it's time to rise. The Divine Mother rises within you. We don't go along, we don't play along with agendas that don't support our children. We don't comply. We stand up for our children, and we stand up for ourselves, and it begins in our own life. So this is a time where the mother within you is being called to mother you, the child within you, right? What is your divine truth? Your divine truth is divine truth, right? Divine truth never changes. Some people call it universal truth. Some might say it's God's word. The fact of the matter is, divine truth never changes. We change as a messenger. We change. Experience changes. Situations change. Truth doesn't change. We can ignore it. We can disregard it. We can run away from it. We can drink it away, drug it away. We can do whatever. It doesn't change. And so at some point in time, we've got to get ourselves off of the wagon wheel and the hamster wheel of this karmic wheel, this karmic hamster wheel that humanity has been into, and allow ourselves to ease and move into the spiral of grace, which is loving and compassion and forgiveness. It's the essence and the energy of the Divine Mother and loving Father in harmony. Your new life is here, right here for you now. Like the lotus who, grows from the depths of the mud and the dark and the emotional waters and the stormy waters to be born radiant and beautiful. We must choose. You must choose. We each must choose to be reborn time and again, each and every day. It's an opportunity to begin again and manifest what you came for. Again, we cannot put responsibility outside of ourselves. Nobody else is responsible for manifesting my dream, bringing my dreams to life, with the exception of me. And I'm sure, like many of you, I've held myself back a lot. I've held myself back most of my adult life. And I'm not holding back anymore. And neither should you. And let's encourage each other to speak truth. Let's encourage each other to see our dreams come true. Because they're absolutely right here for us. Like, this is what we're here for. We are here giving birth to a new sustainable frequency here on Mother Earth for all God's children, wherever they may call home on this globe, this orb of magic and wonder. Emotional healing is huge. And this is where, the womb space is. This is where the emotional body is. An exciting new chapter in your life is about to unfold. Truth be known, if you choose it. If you choose it. And the angel of manifestation says your efforts and determination and perseverance have paid off. So none of this fake it till you make it. Believe it until it appears. Live your life as if you are already living the life of your dreams. Live your life. Breathe life back into your experience. You are a flower of life. You are the sacred tree of life, here as a gift to humanity. Here to support the resurrection of God's light in all God's children, where all know that they are worthy and deserving of not just the basics of life, so much more, the infinite abundance of opportunities and blessings that have their holy name written on them. So I trust something in here has resonated with you and feels supportive to you whenever you connect with these messages, which are timeless and eternal, because that's in the realm of spirit. There is no time or dates or anything like that. So whenever you connect with these messages, I trust that you will feel loved and supported through our connection. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Drop a comment down in the comment section down below. Let's begin to create this flow of communication and conversation and support of one another, because this is really going to thwart all of the nefarious plans of the agenda that don't have our hearts and our names written on them. I see you, I feel you, I love you, and I thank you so much for being a beautiful heart beating here now. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Happy resurrection, everyone!